Well, the review process for this Vertx Gamut Checkpoint that I got from CMMG got a lot more interesting than I expected it to be. In fact, I've already, as of yesterday, uploaded the video, did all the editing, posted it to YouTube, unlisted, just working on a thumbnail, and planned on posting it publicly this morning. And then we started getting rumblings of protests turning into riots last night in Birmingham. And so at about 11:30 last night, I got geared up, grabbed my bag, and headed to work. And it was a very interesting night. Was there from about 11:45 to 2:30 a.m. on the roof of our contract security firm's building, trying to keep people out of our parking lot. And the footage that I'm about to use as the new intro to the video and re-upload it is going to show a little bit of that. You're not going to see the bag featured a lot in that footage, but I think it's real world context for I've now deployed this bag in a pretty close to without rule of law scenario. The footage is garbage, as you might imagine. In the middle of it, I'm not super concerned with videography, so a lot of it was actually filmed through an app called Marco Polo, because it's really easy to hit start and stop on that. And I was actually communicating with some of my buddies going into work about what I was going in to do, and so I just left that app open so I could hit start and stop. So I had to download that stuff. It's all, most of it except for one video, is in portrait mode, and it's just not a great video quality. So I kind of wanted to give some really quick context to what you're going to see. So like I said, 11:30, made the decision that I was going to go into the facility. There was only a handful of people because we've been operating mostly from home with the whole COVID thing. There's only a handful of people at the facility, and not a whole lot of armed contingency. A lot of it really was executive management came in. CEO's a former Ranger and had a weapon, so he was competent in there. And our CFO was actually there, and he's not a tactically minded guy, but he was there to help. And one of our presidents came in, longtime security guy, and our vice presidents, longtime security guy, and he came in with the shotgun. I showed up with the AR-9 in the Vertx bag, ended up on the roof. Took about 8 shots. Obviously I didn't get hit, but took about 8 shots. I don't know if you've ever been shot at. It sounds a little differently when it's coming towards you. It was handgun rounds from across the street. I'm talking like, maybe 20 yards away. One of the guys, actually, you'll see in the video, I circled him, got shot in the chest, rolled over our wall, like staggered through our parking lot, ended up on the other side, like on the adjacent street that goes right past our building, jumped in a car that zoomed off going the wrong way up that 3rd Avenue. So I don't know whatever happened to him. There was a cop in our parking lot, but he dipped out pretty quickly after shots rang out. SWAT team came in through our alley, secured a bunch of people, and they busted our window out, our front window, caught our dumpster on fire. We had a couple people try to come in the facility, but we were able to keep everybody out. Thankfully, none of our personnel got hurt, and none of our personnel had to hurt anyone. So it made for an interesting night. I'll tell you what, being on the roof by myself for a long time, I was glad to have this. I did do some walking around once it calmed down a little bit, on the ground level in the parking deck, doing kind of security for those guys that were out there picking up the bricks to get them out of our parking lot so it didn't end up through a window tonight. And was able to throw the bag on my back. It was nice knowing that I had a full med kit in here. I had a thermal optic if I needed to, look around a little bit further down the street where it was dark and see if there were people moving around, which I did, and found some groups and was able to see people coming before they got there with that. And it was really comforting once again to be on the roof, having soft armor in this bag and a full med kit. Those 8 shots that I took towards that 17th Street, they zipped pretty closly. And so, knowing I had a med kit and my bag was pretty comforting. In fact, getting on and off the roof, being able to throw everything on my back, get up there, quickly deploy the the rifle. It all worked out very well. So now you're gonna see the sort of, I hate to say staged, but the standard YouTube review process that I'd already filmed, but having now, after film that, actually deployed this bag in a real world situation, I'm even more fond of it than I was at the end of the review process. So it's unfortunate that I had to use the bag in that kind of scenario. We're burning our own city down apparently, but it's duty worthy. So if it's duty worthy, it's definitely EDC worthy. So enjoy the review. Apparently Birmingham's about to pop off. There's some stuff going down, statues being ripped down and people vandalizing and looting and polluting. So it is 11:33 and I'm on my way to the office to secure our facility, because the last time we had a Black Lives Matter protest in Birmingham, our building was targeted. So they weren't capable of drawing the distinction between a security company and the police department. And we even have better signage now. So I'm legitimately concerned that if the more populated businessy areas in downtown Birmingham are being well patrolled by the law enforcement, that it'll push some of the people back towards our side of town. So I may go and get on the roof. I've got my timely here. I've got my handy dandy rifle bag with me. So I may just jump on our roof and try to secure our building. I mean, I'm not going to be like sniping people out just because they're like throwing bricks, but if they start trying to come in, they just don't need to try to come in.
To coordinate attacks for those people on bikes.
Going down, man. So I'm one of 2 armed people at this whole building. I can smell the smoke from other buildings that are on fire. There's people at every corner. I can't watch every direction. I'm grotesquely outnumbered. I'm on the roof now. They're smashing up windows. The building over there by Alabama Power is on fire. Got my Vertx Gamut with me. Well, I'm on the roof of my building with an AR-15. The dumpster beside us is on fire. All hell's breaking loose over here. Alabama Power building looks like it's on fire. One Federal's on fire. Hashtag security. They're shooting now. There was just about 8 shots. Now people are running through a parking lot. I don't know who was shooting, if it was from a vehicle or if it was from a hand. They may have been shooting at the cop in our parking lot. freaking working. Everybody's talking about bags these days. It's not that that's anything super new. I've been kind of a bag nerd for a long time. And the problem with a lot of the bags, in fact, every bag I have falls in one of two categories. They're either super durable and super functional for carrying weapons and weapons related gear and look really, really tactical, or they don't look like I've got a gun in the bag, but they're not super functional. They're not durable, that the weapon flops around in there, and they're just obviously not purpose built for carrying a firearm. And there are times when you might want an overt carry bag. If you're in law enforcement, contract security, whatever the case may be, going to the range, there's nothing wrong with having a bag that screams, hey, guess what, guys, there's a gun in my bag. But there are times where you want to have a gun on you, and more than just a handgun, but you don't want to scream, hey guys, I'm the tactical guy that's walking around in public with an AR in a backpack. And JanSports and camping bags, you know, there's various levels of durability, there's various levels of applicability to being able to carry a weapon and that kind of gear. But you find yourself typically on one of the other side of that spectrum. It's not really great for carrying a gun, but at least it's not tactical, or it's really great for carrying a gun, but everybody knows you have one. And so I've for a long time wanted a covert carry bag, and there's lots of them out there these days. The gray man thing is kind of caught on. But I've had my eyes peeled waiting for that's exactly kind of what I wanted, and it finally came out. And the people at CMMG were good enough, gracious enough to send me a Vertx Gamut Checkpoint to review. And in my opinion, as of March 2020, this may be the perfect SBR covert carry bag. And obviously when I say SBR, you know, there's, with the advent of quality braces, you know, really anybody, and Law's tactical side folding stock adapters and things like that, really anybody can get in the SBR game without the tax stamp and paperwork and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna go over this bag a little bit, and there's plenty of reviews out there for the Vertx Gamut Checkpoint that are gonna go through every zipper, every pocket, and show exactly, you know, the design of the bag. And you'll get some of that from me just sort of through osmosis as I go through the bag. But what I want to do is just really just show the bag by showing how I've got it loaded out. And even if you don't find yourself needing or having the same type of gear, I think seeing how mine's loaded out will give you an idea of what the bag is capable of. And it is capable of a lot. It's a really high quality bag. It's very comfortable to carry, even with the way I've got it rigged up, which really my philosophy of use really for this bag is sort of a truck gun bag. You know, this is something I'm just gonna grab and take with me whenever I jump into my truck or my vehicle and go wherever I go within reason. And then I can throw it over my shoulder and take it in if I need to, if it's somewhere, if I'm in a place I don't wanna leave it in the vehicle. So the first thing that you'll notice about these bags, my favorite thing about this bag, is there's two quick release pouches where I keep, you know, most of the critical equipment. You see this little loop that sticks out? I just grab this, pull it down, and it pops open pretty easily. These are all really high quality zippers. They snap inside the bag at the top. There's a little snap where you can leave it secured without buttoning that snap. But that obviously gives you a little bit of extra capability. And like I said, if you watch other videos, you'll see how you can take these and unhook them and hook them inside here and kind of leave this open and put a pair of boots in here or a helmet or whatever. I don't use them, so I'm not really going to talk a whole lot about that. But let's just show kind of what I've got going on in here. And I think it's worth pointing out that how every individual loads out a bag like this is going to be differently, because we all have a different philosophy for how we're going to use it. Most of you know that follow my channel that I'm in the contract security world, and so what I may have in a bag may not make sense for everyday people to keep in a bag if you're not going to find yourself in that kind of line of work potentially. So first thing I'm going to show you, I've got a Leupold Tracker HD Tracker 2 HD thermal binocular. That's just held here with the little piece of Velcro. You can see that this is all Velcro lined moly. I've got a Benchmade, I think it's an SCOP, yeah, SCOP dagger that kind of just to
quick way to have a knife in there. Got a couple of rinky-dink cuffs. They're Smith & Wessons. They're not something great, but it's a way to have some cuffs in here. I've got a handcuff key, a lighter. It's always good to have a way to make light. I've got a little tiny backup CR123 4.7s flashlight, and then a recharger for CR123s or 18650s that just goes USB in there. This is actually a heat shield for the suppressor that we'll get to in a second. I keep it in the bag just so I have it handy. And then I've got a little Baofeng ham radio, and I keep it set to, you know, the weather channel, you know, and obviously I have the ability to change those channels, and you know, ham's a great way to communicate long distances if need be. So that's kind of like this immediate access pouch. There's a piece of Velcro here, so as you zip this up, I find it easier if you grab the inside part of the zipper at the same time the outside, and you can pull this too, and it's pretty quick to secure this back. You don't have to use the snaps. You can just get the zippers to the top, tuck those flaps in, and the Velcro is really strong and it holds it in place just fine if you don't want to use the snaps. The other quick detach, and this is where we really get into the meat and potatoes of this bag and why I have the bag, is this one. You'll see that the zippers are just kind of zipped up to this point. This Velcro's in place, so it's not flapping in the wind, and I can grab this thing, pull that open, and then we kind of really get to what this bag is all about. Okay, and the two main components of this bag are a med kit, where I've got a small tourniquet, a full-size tourniquet, some quick clot, gloves, pressure bandages, shears, emergency blanket. I've got a nasopharyngeal airway here, some med tape, compression gauge, and then like a roll of duct tape on itself, so that I can, if I needed it, I can use it. And it's always good if you're going to keep a tourniquet, you know, keep a marker close by so that you can actually put the time if you had to put a tourniquet on yourself or someone else. And then obviously I've got, just move this out of the way, my CMMG Banshee 9mm, running an Omega 9K suppressor. And if you think about you know, the size of this weapon, you know, being able to pull something, you know, that's an SBR size, obviously this is a pistol configuration, but being able to pull something like this out of a bag that doesn't look tactical at all. I've got a full med kit in the bag. I've got nods, if you want to call thermal monocular nods, and I've got actually soft armor, which we'll get to in a second, you know, and have this ready-made to go anytime I need to. It's pretty impressive to be able to pull this out, a suppressed 9mm carbine, you know, out of a bag. This size is pretty impressive. I do run the 24 round mags in this because the way that this sits, a 30 round mag doesn't go in this pouch very well. This is an RPS Tactical. This is all Velcro here, so this, I can put this around if I want to, really tie it around the hand, the pistol grip of the AR. Also run my CMMG 300 Blackout in this same bag. It's got a 5-inch barrel and it fits in here fine. I'll probably show some pictures of that in the video with the Omega 9K on there. And this just goes in there, and this can hold the pistol grip if I need it to. If I don't want it to, I can just put the pistol grip on top of it. It just keeps it from flopping around if I know I'm gonna be walking a long ways. This is all Velcro, you know, female Velcro here, so you know, you can Velcro stuff to this. They've got some pin and accessory kind of pockets here. I really don't use them for anything. I guess you could probably put a Glock mag in there or something like that, a single stack, double stack magazine in there. I don't use it for anything. I like how Vertx has done these mesh bags. They're really durable, but you can kind of see through them. And this is where I keep my tack stamp for the suppressor, so that this is with me all the time if the gun's with me. So that's an easy way to keep track of that, and I don't leave the house and accidentally, you know, forget that I don't have my paperwork on me. So you'll see the bottom's like super durable. In fact, no, let me open this back up. I want to show you this. If I can get the camera down in there, it's a little harder to see. But this neoprene type of material that the gun goes in, it loops underneath the bottom, so the barrel is actually sitting on this really thick neoprene material, so it's not putting a ton of pressure on the inside or the bottom of the bag. But even if it was, I mean, this is super thick at the bottom, and that's one of the problems I've found with a lot of bags. If you're running in fact, I used to run in a Kelty Ardent, run this folded in a Kelty Ardent, and it just, you could see the barrel poking through the bottom, and I don't get that at all in this bag. So if we get to the back of the bag, let me zip this up real quick so it's not flopping around. if I get to the back of the bag, there's another pouch on the other side. Just grab this, pull it open. And right now, because I'm running my Banshee 9mm, I've got 3 30-round magazines in here. And this is thick enough and padded enough that I don't feel these magazines at all on my back. If I had my 300 Blackout on me, I would potentially take these magazines out. Unless I was using my Glock 17 that day, these would still be applicable to the Glock 17. But if I normally have my concealed carry 365 XL on me, I could take those out just to save the weight. And you can actually run 2 AR style magazines in these pouches. And there will be links in the description for all this various gear, prices, and where I got it and that kind of thing. And then here's another really interesting piece here. I'm not going to pull it all the way out because it's difficult to get in and out. But it's a VISM by NC Star. Now I know you tactical people are thinking, NC Star, no, that's airsoft stuff. And there's a lot of validity to that perspective. But this VISM plate made by NC Star is a level 3A plate. Body armor, so it's rated up to, like, I think 44 Magnum or whatever that is. So it's not rifle rated, but it's a fairly lightweight full panel of ballistic soft armor. And you know, that's not a bad idea to have on you, to have some soft armor. You say, well, why have that in a bag? There's a couple of reasons. One, if you pulled that AR out, you could obviously run this. Let's say if you're in a without rule of law situation or home defense situation or whatever the case may be, I now have, you know, level 3A body armor on my chest, and I can still functionally use my rifle. The other thing about that is they're kind of calling this the Captain America functionality. There's a loop you can put this through, and so if I didn't want to put it on my body, I would be able to run this gun, especially something lightweight like this, and have, you know, a shield, if you will, of level 3A body armor on me. And obviously just throwing it on my back, you know, if I'm trying to escape a situation, you know, think about all the riots right now where we are in the world, socially and politically. There's these riots happening everywhere. So if I was just trying to get out of a space that I didn't need to be in, I would have the ability to throw this on my back, and if the problem is behind me and I'm in theory leaving it, I do have some protection on my 6 from handguns and that kind of thing. And so it's hard to communicate this through a video, but everything about this bag screams quality. The way the padding is, how it's sewn in, every different piece and part that's sewn in, where they put padded, where they double stitch stuff, the kind of nylon they used, the connection, even just the connectors where everything snaps together. I mean, it clicks into place. Have you ever shut the door of like a really expensive car and it just makes a different sound? It has a different feeling. This bag has that. And it does have a chest strap, you know, to help support the weight. There's a waist strap too. I hardly ever use those kinds of things, especially on something that's supposed to be a quick grab and go bag. But it is there if you want it to be there. And it also has some pockets on the side, so you know, I'm running some tack gloves in this pocket. This is really probably designed more for water bottles and that kind of stuff. And on this side I've got some of these Nite Ize little zips. I got a quick little thrown together multi-caliber cleaning kit, and then I could obviously squeeze a bottle, a water bottle or something in that bag too. But yeah, like I was saying, I mean, everything about this bag, you can tell that they weren't saying, okay, let's make the cheapest bag possible. It's very competitively priced. In fact, I think there are bags that are maybe 75% of the quality and functionality of this bag that are $100 more. Street Ranch, that are great bags, but I don't think they can compete with this in terms of functionality, how covert it is, and what I perceive to be something that's going to be incredibly durable. And at a much bigger price point. So they were focusing on functionality, and in this case, you know, we hear people say all the time, form follows function, but when you're specifically looking for a covert carry bag, the form is part of the function, and I think they hit it out of the park on every aspect of this bag. You know, the options for what you can run in it, how the gun sits in the bag, how covert it is, how comfortable it is. Even though this is like intended to be a truck bag, it's not something I'm going to hike around with everywhere I go. But even though it's fairly heavy in its current configuration, it's incredibly comfortable as well. And every aspect that you're looking for in a covert bag, Vertx has really knocked it out of the park. And if you're looking for one of these, a Vertx Gamut Checkpoint, I would look at CMMG. The folks at CMMG are really great. They have a good website, and it's cheaper on their website than it is from Vertx. So if there's any other reason that you need, I don't know what it would be. So if you're in the market for something like this, I don't think you can go wrong with Vertx. If this is a little big for you, they have something that's called the Ready Bag 2.0 that is built more like kind of the old school JanSport backpack shape, with a lot of the same functionality, not quite as much space and options. But if you're looking for something to be a truck bag, to be a grab and go bag that you can put an SBR or a pistol caliber carbine with the folding stock in it, this is probably the best option out there. I've spent quite a bit of time with this over the last couple of months, taking it with me everywhere I go, throwing it on my shoulder and doing hikes and walks, even rode around my neighborhood on a bicycle with it, and never did I get the kind of pinched nerves in your neck or your arms going numb or anything like that, and there's zero wear on the bag. And so I think for me, it's the perfect covert carry SBR bag, pistol caliber carbine bag, and I expect it to be a part of my daily EDC, for the foreseeable future. So thanks for sticking around. More stuff to come in the future at Warrior Works. We'll see you next time. So, interesting story while trying to shoot this Gamut video. I was going to a closed hospital that I thought would make a cool background, and caught some people trying to burn it down. So I was able to run them off. I wasn't trying to run them off, but I was trying to get descriptions, and they ran off. Had to call the cops and tell them myself for trespassing basically, but they're cool about it. In fact, the guy, one of the cops that showed up, showed me his bag that he's carrying. He said he's looking for something that looks less tactical. So when they're done doing what they've got to do and hand this off to EMT, I'm going to be showing him the bag from my car. So I guess that's how you sell a Gamut.